Good morning, you guys. Got up this morning, um, and I was like, um, I'm getting up at the same time. I was like, okay, let me go ahead and start praying because I know things are running real smooth, and I've learned from before, trouble, things, not to say trouble always comes, but it does. Just like good times come, seasons change. So I've learned to be constant in my prayers and in my walk, and refining myself every single time. Um, yeah, refining myself every single time. Um, excuse me. And with that, just being sensitive to what is around me, um, who is around me, what are they saying, how do I feel when I'm around these people? Because it really makes a difference. So I was speaking to an old friend, and although he's very much, I want to say he's always been kind of introverted, but he knows everybody's business, y'all. I was like, I had to sit and think, like, why am I still connected to this individual? What made me, go back? And I noticed when I started talking about it, uh, excuse me, talking about it and praying to God, like, how did I come back to this individual versus all the other individuals that were in my past? It was because this person had a lot going for itself. Another individual is not the same person as I talked about yesterday with the whole situation. This individual I was very close to in my younger years, but we got, distance. Life just happens and you just get some distance. Um, but when I had some distance, I was really shocked at not being that close to this individual. But God just started showing me recently and showing me even before little things that wasn't aligning, and that's why we needed separation. Uh, excuse me. I was just like, what in the world is really, going on? And I started listening to his walk, even though he was introverted, meaning that he works better independently and gets energy that way. Some of the things that he was connected to, even though he didn't outwardly connect with people, he would monitor what they were doing, basically social media, things like that. Just stay really connected. And I was just shocked by, you know, um, how that can be even possible when you think that you're gonna have a healthy life. So I just started seeing some of those things, and I noticed like, okay, well, maybe that's why we have a lot of distance because I know for myself and going through the things that I went through, how connectivity to people, places, and things make a huge difference on how the outcome of your life, the trajectory of your life goes. And the better you are connected, I even looked at my life from previously and looked at how things were going in my life before when things seemed to be good. When they were very prosperous, it was because I was connected to people who were going in the same movement. Not only that, there was a lot of supportive people in the background. It wasn't like, or around me. There wasn't like, the attacks and the things that were coming against me were not there. It was just the bonds were so strong that I was able to pierce through it. Okay. So, um, yeah. So I had got that in my head and I was like, okay, even though we had a good conversation, I saw what the limitations were. And as I'm growing, some of those limitations, I don't want to have those limitations or not have more intimate conversations or have that limit of intimacy with with people that, I want to have an intimate level with. It doesn't mean that, oh, this person is just out of my life forever. It's just the intimacy level only allows it to go so far. So just appreciate the relationship where it's at and don't push any further. You know, I also noticed a reflection in the growth in myself because before I never saw the difference and why it was so imperative for me to grow because I was in the same spot for a good amount of time. Excuse me. Even though it always stung me how this individual, I don't know, some things that they would do, it would really bother me, but and I wouldn't say anything just to keep the peace. Um, Not that people pleasing. Um, but as time grew on and as I got older and stronger, I started seeing and noticing that kind of behavior and that I didn't want that in my sphere or in my life. Um, yeah. So I got that out the way, and I was like, keep that little, keep the lines of communication open, but just keep it very very limited. I just didn't want to, and not only that, I've just came too far. Have you done a lot of work on yourself, and God has really worked on you, and you've just had that time to get really close to Him and understand some things, and it feels good, even when you're not around 12,000 people. You don't have to be around anyone to be secure or to know when God is God and how He's changed. You feel whole. You feel different, and I just didn't want that feeling or that knowing, not even the feeling, because sometimes the feeling is not always there when you're doing right, but it's that knowing that even if you don't feel it's gonna eventually be there. So, or it's gonna eventually come. Excuse me. So, um, yeah. What else? Oh yeah, I also noticed that this morning while I was going to go walk my dog, and I'm noticing more that I'm going to stop videotaping. That's why I sat down and I was like, I'm going to stop videotaping in public places because it seems like people just come out of the woodworks out of nowhere, y'all. Or my dog starts acting really crazy where I can't record and I can't stay on topic, or something gets me a little bit thrown off. So I'm making more time to be intentional about what I'm doing and about the world around me. Because I definitely see a lot of shifts. I see a lot of shifts in things that are going around me, and even the people. Everyone is just so busy and so boom, 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 or so not even busy. People are prying busy, you know. And if you don't watch the surroundings of the things around you, you'll kind of miss it yourself. Life gets you busy, and yeah, a lot of that stuff. So I started. I was like, I'm just gonna be intentional and record. Indoors or indoors, no matter where I'm at. Just be more selective where I'm at. Where I'm at recording. Um, the last thing um, that I got this morning was that I thought about my aunt, y'all. So remember, I didn't even. Well, I had a dream about one of my aunts. I didn't tell y'all. I told y'all about a dream that I had about one of my aunts, but I was not getting it. I was not understanding it. But this morning, y'all, when I got up and y'all, now she got a bark. Um, when I got up and I was getting ready to, walk my dog, all this the process. Something clicked in my head was like, she lied to you. And I'm like, what? Now, I had a video before when I was talking about what was going on with my mom and all this other stuff, and how, you know, my mother said some things, and my mom always is going like, here we go loop de loo, here we go loop de la. But some of the stuff, you know, some of the stuff that she says, who is Sherman Glenn? Hi, Sherman Glenn. Some of the things that she says, um, sometimes it's on point. Um, one day, my aunt, one day I was talking to my aunt. I remember her talking about how she got this new phone. They had to upgrade their plan from Sprint to T-Mobile. Okay, so and they had to change their phones because they still had Sprint phones. And how her husband stayed with Android and she got Apple. I distinctly remember that, and I was like, "Oh, well, why did you go there?" She was like, "I didn't like it, but the kids got it. Kiana's, I said Kiana's. Okay, the kids got it. One of her daughter's kids got it. They all got iPhones, and she was like, well, she thought it was time for her to change, but it's so harder to work it because she's always had an Android phone. It was harder for her to even get with Android when she didn't have an Android phone. So, um, my aunt is like not that tech savvy. She's in her 50s. One of my aunts. I got a lot of aunts. So, um, I was like, oh, it takes some time, but, honestly, in this day, telling them about the process of Android, they almost the same now. It's not a huge difference from how it used to be in 2000, 2004, those kind of, that era, because, you know, technology is not limited anymore. People, the same apps and the things you're using for the most part for iPhone, you can use for Android. And she was like, yeah, I'm going to go back, blah, blah, this. Whoop de whoop, whoop de whoop. Okay. I know y'all like, well, why are you telling me this story? Okay. So fast forward, I want to say it was like maybe between 2 and 5 weeks later. 2 and 5 weeks later, no more than 5 weeks. Um, I had talked to her and I was like telling her how, you know, um, what I was doing and how I was having this coat drive and things like that. And she was like talking or whatever, and I was like trying to get her. I was like, I'm going to go ahead and try to record, and I was like, I'm gonna send you through the iPhone. And she was like, I don't have an iPhone. I don't have an iPhone. Who told you I had an iPhone? I'm like, you told me you had an iPhone. She's like, no. So I'm thinking, okay, well maybe she returned the phone back, y'all. Okay, fast forward. We've been talking. I don't know. All of a sudden, like when I say this person's been just talking to me more and more, she stopped talking to me after I sent this picture um, about a cup, and it was because it was uh, the favorite color, um, and this is one. I'm telling you, this is one. Like she will have a tantrum if she don't get stuff her way. Like she's very helpful. But if you don't do things her way, it's a whole ball game. Like it's crazy. So I knew I was gonna have a little static. I thought about like, why did I even send that picture? Because whatever. So, but I didn't even care. I wasn't even thinking of it like that. Um, I was just like, it was a pretty cup, and somebody bought it for me. Excuse me. Um, and didn't think about the consequences after. So we've been talking during the holidays. I did not, you guys know, I did not go um, back home. I didn't visit really too much anyone. I did community service. I prayed. I stayed my butt home and chilled out. Um, and we were definitely like FaceTiming. So I didn't think of nothing of it. Time had already passed. We'd already been talking, and I didn't even think about it until this morning when I got that, oh, she lied. And I'm like thinking in my head, um, you know, Oh no, no, no. I'm sorry. I had asked her before I even that was brought to my remembrance. I had asked her a couple of months before, like, oh, you just got this phone? They're like, no, I've been had this phone since I told you that since we went to T-Mobile. And I'm sitting in my head and I was like, oh, didn't think of it. But this morning it was like she lied, and it brought me to that remembrance of that. And I'm like, huh, okay. Like, why did she even do that? Like, why would you sit there and say something that simple? But I will tell you this. I will tell you this. I love my family, but there have been some really not so nice, not so equally nice things that these individuals have done to me, and um, just even to others when they don't feel like they're getting that way. Um, and that's why I try to give a lot of, excuse me, that's why I try to give a lot of distance to them, because even growing up, I would seem as the person that was doing so wrong when they would be literally lying. Um, and I would literally just have to get my space, because people would literally take their sides, take her children's sides, even though, y'all, they be doing the craziest stuff, okay? To this day, I don't want to tell about people's personal business, but to this day, they're always in some kind of situation, okay? Whether it's legal, financial, it's always some kind of judicial, it's always some kind of, like, situation. And not to say, everyone doesn't have situations, but these be serious. Um, And it used to bother me so much to the point where when people used to be like, "Oh, well, you need to get your act together, and you're doing this, and you're the bad sheep. You need to get this, and they're doing this." And it's like, how is this even possible when if you looking at it through another lens, if you're looking at it from the outside, you can tell that it's not me. you know, you can tell that it's not me, and I didn't understand the consequences of being around um individuals like that it will start messing with your mind. It will start messing with your mind when you feel like you are inadequate and you are not enough, because they see that you are enough and that you can do it without them. And um, they really flip out on the bag when they can't take that credit. And I didn't even get it, man. I promise y'all I didn't get it. It hurts a little bit now, but it's giving me so much relief now, just to know that um I did the right thing, and God had a reason for all of this madness. If I would have stayed where I was at, I would have still felt like I wasn't even worthy of where he was placing me, or I was going nuts or any things like that, because that's literally gaslight. Like, you literally just lied about something that simple, that simple. As far as a phone, y'all, a phone. And I know it wasn't just, oh, well, you shouldn't be tripping. That wasn't a mistake. That wasn't a mistake. Like, I've seen it happen time and time again, especially when, control is lost. People can't control you. So, um, I just wanted to share with you, that whole scenario. Um, and if you're in that situation, it might seem very simple to you. Like, well, you should get over it. You should, you know, not think of that. I used to feel that way, but I know now that those little lies add up. Those little things that you overlook, they will add up. They will collect. They will, start to manifest a lot if you don't check that and you don't realize what things really are. And I used to live around, or I had to do that because I had no other option, really. My mom, she's been mentally ill and she was in prison for a good minute, and My father, he was getting deported, in prison, just doing all kinds of stuff. So I really didn't have, too much of a say when you're a child. And even growing up, if you've been in that kind of situation, you just adjust. Some people don't adjust and they, go at it a different way. I was just a little bit proactive because I had more people that were pushing. Some people would see on the outside and will push me, and that helped a lot too. But as far as that, just be careful, because sometimes those jabs and sometimes those punches, they come from the inside. In order for it to penetrate, it has to come from the inside. So, you know, um, definitely be watchful of that. When I got that revelation this morning, I was just like, oh crap. Like, I had already felt like, you know, readjusting the circle. And not only that, I told you guys about connectivity even before earlier today, and how, um, you know, some of the people that I didn't know, I said I didn't know, some of the people that I knew previously, I had to disconnect because I was on a different wavelength and a different path than what they were going on. Didn't mean that they were just horrible people. Some of them were not fitting into well, a lot of them weren't fitting into the plan, you know. And that's the same thing that you have to do with people that, even family, you know. Um, in order to be a successful, it's a narrowing in. It's definitely a narrowing in. Okay, some people are not going to um, like it that you're pushing along, and you keep going. Because some people got afraid, or some people got scared. Some people, what, girlie? Okay. Some people got afraid, and some people got scared, and you know, um, all those things. But they see that, you're in a state, in an age, and you're still pushing, no matter what's going on. You're still pushing. So it's gonna tinkle a little bit. But those narratives, when people say those things and they don't add up, that's character issues. Those are character flaws, and because it repeats over and over and over again. Just take, lessons from it. Take, notes. Take notes on it, um, because it really makes a difference. Um, what else? Um, it also gave me confirmation about um, the dream that I had, and what God was showing me, and all of that. I'm learning more to just take things. Don't look at things physical, just physical. You know, people want to look all spiritual or all physical. It's not. It's not either one or the other. It's both. And to find that resolution. So, um, yeah. And another thing I've also got with that it is imperative. I don't care what you're doing. It is imperative, if you find out that somebody is really not into you, they only connected because of a status, or something like that. Cut them people off. Cut them people off. I don't give a care how much it hurts. If somebody sees that you're trying to cut them off, and they start cutting you off, and you start feeling that tension, allow that tension to go. Allow that tension to process through, because it is better for them to get off of your wavelength, to get off before they destroy everything. Some people will try to, knowing that they did wrong, they'll try to get rid of you and try to make you feel like, oh, something is wrong with you. Let them breeze on off. Let them breeze on off. God lets things happen for a reason. You didn't see what they was doing behind the scenes. You didn't see what they was doing, spiritually. You didn't see what they was doing behind your back. Um, that was the other thing that I was really getting, y'all. Like, I had one person. And I'm gonna tell y'all this story because this happened a while ago, and I think that they didn't really pick up on what I knew, which I don't understand why they didn't, but um, I let it alone. I was connected to this one person. God told me to let this person go. Being hard headed, did not, right? Because I'm like, oh, they're so sweet, they're so this. Well, they got, and it wasn't even really too much them at first, but I see it really was them because they were rebellious and they got connected to this really evil person who literally told everybody what they was doing and everything. Do y'all know? I had this dream that was so big. It was so real, and I know it was. It was so intense. It was so intense that it was like I literally was out of. I went out of my house like somebody was calling my name, and I literally went out of my house into their garage while they were sitting there, and they're doing all types of stuff, and I could not stop drinking this punch. I could not stop drinking this punch, and it was like teeth everywhere, y'all. The punch, it looked like it was orange, but it didn't resemble like orange drink. It was almost like blood. Like it was so demonic. I literally had to pray. Okay. But one thing I noticed is that when I got up from that thing, it was like my stomach was swollen. Even to this day, swollen. Like I literally had to pray. Um, I wish I would have did things longer, but I remember that dream so intensely to the point where I literally had to give that person distance. And this person literally was just breaking their necks trying to come into my house, having meetings, trying to connect to me. And it was like, okay, even though I know that, it wasn't always that person, but in that dream, that person was there. I knew it was, not just them, it was the person that they were connected to, but the other person was there. And I was like, well, it's because they're connected to this person. And if they only get away from that person, then they're going to be better. No, that is not always the case. Um, Especially when you're dealing with toxic people or you're dealing with um, spiritual narcissism. Like, and it always manifests to the outside. It always manifests to the outside because what I learned is that that person who was very toxic, who they got into a relationship with and they were with, um, they both had the same characteristics. They both had these same characteristics. It was just the other person was very quiet and very under the radar with their controlling. They would try to use their finances over the person who was just out there. Like, I don't care, And it was just like, why? Like, why? And I kept saying, why am I going across these people? Because I'm very happy go lucky. I always want to help people no matter what, y'all. Because I've been in situations where people haven't helped me. So always that rescue thing. Like I said, I'm a very much happy go lucky person. Um, and when I say happy go lucky, la la la, like skies are always blue. I wake up and say literally every single day. I still say this till this day. It's gonna be a good day, y'all. It's gonna be a happy day. I just feel it. I'm one of those people. So even on the saddest day I've ever had, and I've had some really sad days, I always felt like it's gonna be a good day. It's gonna be a turnaround. So this is how I end up being, connected to these people. And I see some of the things, not to say I need to downplay everything, but just know what kind of people are in the world. And yeah, back to the story. Um, After that dream, I was just like, okay, well, if that person gets separated from that person, it's gonna be better. No, it didn't. It just trickled down, and I noticed that some of those attacks and some of those things just transpired. Because there's an after effect when you're connected to people, good or bad, positive or negative, whatever way you want to call it. There is a ripple effect to who you're connected to. And if you're connected with someone who is, evil and do stuff just not good spiritually and physically, guess what? It's going to trickle down to you after a while. If someone is doing good and they're positive and they're radiant, it's going to transfer over to you. Just like I was talking about earlier the other day when I said, people was like, oh, we're looking for Belen. You know, I miss her energy. It was trickling down because it's transferred. So you have to be very careful who and what you're around. And I noticed that this person was literally feeding that kind of common energy, and it was so comfortable for me because I was so much surrounded. I was usually surrounded by it, not understanding that, you know, it was time to elevate, or get away from that, and how much it was trapping me, trying to rescue or trying to help or try to elevate and have other people see what you see, you know. Yeah, and that individual, let me tell y'all, the lies were so crazy. Like they would literally, this would turn me off about that person because it was like they would latch onto me and forget all of their other friends or anything like that, but just always wanted to be around my items. Things would just fall apart when they were around. I would have issues, um, which I haven't had those anymore since that, disconnection. Um, Issues with vehicles. I had just um, all types of things happening. I was like, it was crazy. And I was like wondering why. And then, when God just really confirmed, because I wasn't listening, I started seeing it right off the bat. Like doors were being back open, things were getting back. So you really, really, really have to be careful. You know, um, the Bible does tell us to teach you to observe all things, and I think that that's a great illustration about what we're supposed to be doing in this time. And it's gonna hurt. It's going to hurt, y'all, because um, we all get accustomed to the familiar. But after a while, it's just like working out. It's like spiritually working out. You get stronger, you get better, and you understand why you can't have that around, or why you can no longer, tiptoe and do, let things slide, or why you have to be so proactive. So yeah. Anywho, I'm gonna get off here because I need to get everything on the road and get everything uh, together. So hopefully something I said or done will help you on your journey. Please stay tuned to Journey to Jerusalem.